My name is Amy Will. This is a position paper on the differentiation of student learning with instructional technology for the class Current Trends in Educational Technology. My vision revolves around the differentiation of student learning. In the future, I foresee teachers using three main techniques to differentiate learning within their classrooms. The first being virtual schools, next e-schools, and last, the flipped classroom. Before I get into my vision too deeply, I want to take a minute and give you a brief history on the education of technology and education. There are four perspectives that define educational technology. The first perspective began to evolve in education as early as the 1900s with the visual movement. The visual movement refers to films, slides, photographs, all types of visual material that was used to enhance educational instruction. Technology advances in radio, television, and sound recordings quickly led to an audio-visual movement in the early 1930s. The third perspective revolved around the computer. By 1984, the computer was viewed to be the catalyst of a very deep and radical change in the educational system. The computer led to the fourth perspective, which is instructional design. If we take a look at instructional design, the latest definition of instructional design is from the 2008 AECT Committee's book. The AECT defined instructional design as the study and ethical practice of facilitating learning and improving performance by creating, using, and managing appropriate technological processes and resources. When we think about this definition, it has a clear emphasis on the systematic processes and the use of technological resources. The emphasis on systematic processes of instructional design have led to the development of many instructional design models. One of the famous models referred to today is Keller's 1979 ARCS model of motivation design. There are four main components of this model: attention, relevance, competence, and satisfaction. Attention refers to how well an educator can gain and maintain the focus of a learner. Relevance indicates meaning. Is the lesson meaningful to the learner? Confidence is related to the success of the learner. If the learner is successful, they will be confident in themselves. The fourth component of the model is satisfaction. This component is extremely important as satisfaction is a key component to learner motivation. Building on those four components, we have five principles of motivation that incorporate a fifth strategy that requires learners to actually self-regulate their intentions. This fifth strategy is very important for students in my vision of education technology in the future. Currently, teachers are using a variety of strategies to engage and motivate students, including educational games, simulations, mobile apps, Skype, and most recently, the flipped classroom. The true model of the flipped classroom is based off the principle that all students learn at individual rates, and it's a fairly new strategy to be used, and it's not used very widely. However, in the future, I see it as being a huge component. My entire vision is developed around the idea of differentiation. If one was to look up the meaning of differentiation, they would actually find that it's defined as matching instruction to meet the different needs of learners in a classroom. If you look deep into differentiation, back in January of 2002, the state implemented No Child Left Behind. This left our nation in a huge position to push teachers to differentiate the instruction to ensure that all students are learning at their highest potential. Two of the four principles of No Child Left Behind are using scientific research to guide classroom practices and involving parents by giving them information and choices about their child's education. It's the teacher's responsibility to ensure that students individualize continuous progress toward a targeted learning goal. In essence, it's no longer a one-size-fits-all classroom, and teachers' instructions has to be learner-focused and individualized. So how are we going to do that? And what is that going to look like in a classroom in 2020? In my vision, I see technology as being the catalyst to achieving the goal of continuous progress. In order to apply the technology to its fullest, teachers are going to have to become truly innovative by using a multitude of methods, including virtual schools, e-tutoring, and flipped classrooms. Taking a look at virtual schools. Currently, Florida has a virtual school that students can enroll in and learn from at home. In my vision, educators at all levels, elementary, middle, and high, would have the students enrolled in various courses throughout the day within the classroom walls. Idealistically, the teacher would be able to have one student working on learning letter sounds, one student working on blending, and yet another student working on reading sentences, while another student is possibly working on writing paragraphs. Florida Virtual Schools is a potential vehicle to deliver this instruction. Through Florida Virtual Schools, teachers would potentially be able to register his or her class and assign appropriate standards for the individualized students. The reason that I see Florida Virtual Schools as a potential vehicle is that they utilize the Common Core state standards that must be met for each grade level. Consequently, the teacher can use those standards to set achievable goals for their students. This access would enable students to move through the standards at his or her own pace. By enabling our students to move at their own pace, the teacher ensures the continuous growth and is able to become the facilitator of information, while the student is forced to self-regulate their own learning and actively use that fifth principle of the ARC model. E-tutoring is another avenue to help differentiate learning of students. E-tutoring has been generically described as individualized learning supported by internet technology. E-tutor virtual learning is an online school providing an in-depth curriculum to students in grades K to 12 that can be accessed anywhere in the world. Access to the program is through subscription, which teachers could easily subscribe to. Subscribers become part of an online community. This community and program is built on two foundational beliefs. Students learn more when given choices, and parents are educators. The classes are taught by experienced certified educators. The students are motivated by the fact that they can study what is of interest to them. Consequently, they want to do more. So that motivation is there, giving them the confidence and the satisfaction at the end of it. E-tutoring appears to have the potential to greatly enhance a student's access to be remediated from a qualified educator. When we think about some of our students in our classroom, we know that a lot of them may need to hear a strategy from another person, or they may need to hear a strategy told to them in a different way. E-tutoring offers this through collaboration of the certified educators through the program. Once the student masters the skill, they gain the confidence that he or she understands the material and they can demonstrate the knowledge, then they are able to move to the next step, which continues the continuous progress model of learning. The flipped classroom is an idea of the future in the education that requires a complete and total mind shift by parents, students, and educators alike. A flipped classroom is also known as reverse teaching. It's defined as a form of teaching that encompasses any use of internet technology to leverage the learning in a classroom. With a flipped classroom, the work is truly split between the teacher and the machine. In an ideal situation, a teacher would tape a lesson, assign it to the students, and have them watch the digital lesson at home. After watching the video, students would come to class with a question, answered to prove that they watched the lesson, and prepared to participate in an online activity. As the students are working on the online activity, the teacher has signed in as a coach and is able to instantaneously view the data that the students are producing. By being able to immediately dissect the data, the teacher is able to determine individual gaps in students' progress. This particular aspect of the flipped classroom directly supports two of our guiding principles of No Child Left Behind. By having the students watch the lesson at home, educators are involving parents by giving them the information about their child's education. The teacher is using scientific research to guide his or her classroom practice when he or she signs in as a coach and instantaneously views and uses the data that the students are producing. By being able to immediately use that data, they can determine the gaps and provide feedback to the students where needed. And consequently, it's promoting the continuous progress model that No Child Left Behind promotes for us. The above vision that I've described in all of these previous slides integrates with the principles outlined in the ARC model of motivational design: attention, relevance, confidence, satisfaction, and self-regulated intentions. Through differentiation of more individualized instruction, students will have access to appropriate instructional technology that will allow each to self-regulate their intentions and find subject relevance through the use of online virtual school access. Students will also gain confidence and satisfaction through their interaction with an educated and experienced e-tutor. The interaction with an e-tutor will hopefully boost both satisfaction and their newfound knowledge of the material and the confidence gained through mastering new subjects. Finally, the flipped classroom design will focus their attention on the material to be mastered inside and outside of a standard classroom. As with many newer approaches or newly combined approaches, there are opportunities and challenges. Some of the challenges that I can foresee with meeting my vision would be a digital divide. I fortunately have had the opportunity to work in very affluent schools and schools that are possibly Title I schools. I can see a digital divide occurring in counties that try to implement this. And then you could easily have people argue that those that do not have access to the technology are at a disadvantage. One way that this could be fixed would be to have a technology center where students could go and access the technology needed at any time, day or night, so that they'd be able to meet the needs of things like the flipped classroom and have access to e-tutors. Another challenge that I foresee is meeting the individualized, tailored instruction need. When you think about the fact that you could have 24 students coming to you with questions from a video that they watched at home, or that you need to assign standards to 24 different students and 5 different subjects, you could quickly overload a teacher, and by asking them to essentially be everywhere at once. The only thing that I could see to help with this is to have some type of structured grouping where certain students went on certain days, so that it kind of spaced it out for the teacher, and you would have certain questions answered on certain days. However, you're still creating a lot of work for a teacher. Despite the fact that it would be a lot of work for a teacher, if we could truly use this technology to differentiate our learning, I feel that our students would greatly soar in the year 2020. That concludes my PowerPoint. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, please feel free to post them, and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching.